Now we're joined by Ross Bjork, Ohio State's athletic director. And Ross, the first of all, I don't know when you do performance reviews, but Hartline was supposed to be out here at 6:10, and they had a staff meeting, and he hasn't shown up yet. So I'm not saying
6:10.
It's 6:10. But that's okay. Look, I'm not going to. He's a busy
meeting.
guy. They had a staff meeting, I guess, unexpected staff meeting, whatever it is. I'm not saying you need to discipline him for it, but I just think it's something that should be addressed.
I mean, that's in his contract that he has media, obligations, right, that he has to fulfill. So we're going to have to check that.
Thank you.
Or we'll have to get Jerry and Mike back here to talk about scheduling, or Quinn Temple, or somebody. They didn't get the wake-up call. I just saw Hartline on the field.
Show?
Well,
No. On the field, working with quarterbacks, and then he was going into the offensive. So we actually do need him to do that work too.
Yeah.
But if he shows up, hey, look, I'm happy to, slide off to the side, and you guys can talk football.
We already figured it out. Bobby already made it clear that if he shows up now, Hartline gets my headset and I watch.
You're out. So
I'm
you're
out.
out.
Yes,
Okay,
I'm the one
okay.
who gets pulled.
Well,
yes.
Okay.
AJ had the idea. We got done talking to AJ Hawk. He had the idea. He goes, "Why don't you have Hartline interview Ross?
Okay.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Like in the full scheme of stuff,
Yeah.
that'd be pretty fun."
Look, Hartline could do media. I mean, Hartline's a multi-talented guy. He could do lots of things. He's got a nice summer tan. He'll get more tan out here on the practice field. So
give a promotion, make him an OC, and all of a sudden he blows off morning juice.
Right.
That's okay.
What's amazing is if you look at him from his playing days, what he looked like physically.
Yeah. Was he thinner?
Oh,
obviously?
I joke. He looked like Carnell Tate.
Yeah.
I told him, I was like, Hartline used to look like you. You need to get bigger like him now. And
now he looks like a linebacker.
He does. He's got the sleeve tattoo, and he's like put on 25 pounds. So I told him, man, like he used to always make fun of AJ and I and James for lifting. There's something to that. Now you've kind of.
Now he's kind of taking that on. Yeah, he tied in linebacker. So first of all, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Today's the day, right?
Today is
the day. The running test. Hey, look, we'll have a garbage can off to the side if you need to, like.
I saw a bed out there,
relieve
Ross.
yourself.
There's a bed out there.
There's a bed out there.
Yeah, I thought that was before.
We can have an ice bath for you. We can have a garbage can. If you need to relieve yourself. Because I know, look, it's hard.
It is.
The older you get, I think I could run like 2 of them.
That's two more than
but
me.
you're doing the whole test. So
Good
for you.
The good news is I tried to build it. And I appreciate it, Ross. Thank you. But I went over Saturday to the practice turf over at Upper Arlington.
Okay.
I was like, I need to kind of figure out where I was at. I was down at our place at Ohio River all weekend. So I would run and do stuff, but it wasn't anything that was like directly time-based correlated to that. So I went over, I ran 18. They had some sort of, alumni lacrosse tournament going on the other field. And it was substantially hotter than this.
Oh, my gosh. Right.
So when I looked at the schedule, I'm like,
okay.
This is best case scenario right here. I put a shirt on. It's a little chilly, so we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
My guy Schleggs is coming over. He's
is he going to run too, or is he going to time you?
He's my timer.
Okay.
He's my strength coach.
Okay.
He's going to time me.
I think Schleggs could do it too.
Well, Schleggs is naturally no. He could do more lifting stuff than I probably could. I was trying to solicit Jeff Backus to get over here and do it. And while he was training, because Jeff's one of the guys I know is actually still faster than me.
Yeah, he's in shape. Yep,
and
I see him.
He actually tweaked his hamstring. So they just released the top football players as the dispatch.
Last 25 years.
25 years out of Central Ohio. And Jeff was number 1. I was only number 6, Jeff.
Man.
Yeah, there's a little bit with that. But talk a little bit. Ross, there's been so much stuff going on since July 1st to now. We've had, meetings with you and Tony in the Big Ten. There's been meetings with the SEC. I joke I call it the Council of Cardinals. Everybody's coming together and trying to get some smoke to figure out what's gonna look like for 12 teams, 16 team, the House settlement. Just kind of outline everything that's happened here.
If you just look, actually, if you take the last 5 years, you think about it. COVID. I did a list. We had a staff retreat. I wasn't out here yesterday. We did a kind of leadership staff retreat. COVID, social unrest, financial unrest, Supreme Court case, NIL state-by-state law, unlimited transfer portal, Congress, what's the status of the NCAA, conference realignment, college football playoff. Now we have a college sports commission. Now we have the House case settlement. Now we have should athletes be employees. I could keep going. Now we have a visa status of athletes because we have international athletes, right? I mean, there are so many things going on right now in our industry. But the key is somebody has to lead. somebody has to figure this out. And if we don't lead, if we don't provide a positive voice in all of this, so to tell you where we are would take 5 shows. It would take 5 hours. Yeah. I did an hour discussion the other day at the Columbus Metropolitan Club, and it was an hour. Matt Barnes, from Channel 4 was the interviewee, and it was an hour worth, and we couldn't get to all of it. So, look, we need clarity. We're searching for that. There is structure to get to clarity, but it's been a bumpy start, right, with the College Sports Commission. They don't have all the staff. The conference commissioners, the 4 conference commissioners are really the ones kind of overseeing all of this implementation, because we were the defendants in the lawsuit to get us the clarity that we needed around revenue sharing and NIL rights. And look, we have a lot of sponsor activity out here today, and right, we have athletes engaging in NIL. We've had NIL agreements approved by the College Sports Commission, and we've had some that are still sitting there, and we're waiting on approval. So there's so many things going on. And then, by the way, how many teams should be in the playoff? Right now we're at 12. We believe in expansion. We believe that the Big Ten and the SEC should have automatic qualifying spots. We believe there's a way to play your way in to those spots, not just be handed those spots, but play your way into those spots. So the commissioners are in charge of that process. We give our opinion. We can push and pull, but at the end of the day, it's the SEC and the Big Ten that have to decide on the CFP. Hopefully this fall that'll happen. But the time and place that we're in college athletics, it's never happened like this. There's never been all of these things hit at once, but we sat over there in that Fawcett building. We sat with our coaches. We sat in Big Ten meetings. We sat with our presidents, and we've got to map this out, because all of this is worth it. That's the thing. What you went through is worth it.
Yeah.
What we do is worth it to give the young people an opportunity. Those are the things that are not going to go away.
Well, what's interesting to hear about that, and you talk about the automatic qualifiers, which I wasn't necessarily in favor of a large portion of them early. However, when we start talking about the subjectivity of the playoff selection committee and trying to get, it's your conference champ plus your group of 5, Notre Dame. So really, if you go to 16, you have 10 that you have to choose. Whereas if you get to this 4-4, 2-2-2, whatever it looks like, and then the interesting piece is you talk about playing your way in. And when you start having the potential of maybe 6 or even 8 schools from the Big Ten and the SEC, so you finish in the top half of your conference,
right,
you have the ability to win one more game and then ultimately get into that. So by de facto, you've kind of expanded the playoff opportunity and pool for them.
Right.
Where did that idea? Is that something that came from Tony?
Yeah.
Was that from the conference?
I think it was a lot of conversation. I mean, we started having that sort of concept come up last summer of 2024. Okay. We went into the fall. We actually had a meeting with SEC athletic directors back in October of last fall, and then again in February, and these ideas kind of germinated from the fact that, look, how do we keep the regular season meaningful as long as possible into November, meaningful games? Hey, when you're playing, Purdue, and maybe Purdue's not where they want to be, but that game's important because you're setting yourself up for how do you finish in the – look, we finished 4th in the Big Ten last year, and we won the national championship. So to sit here and say, well, the Big Ten doesn't deserve 4 teams, or the SEC doesn't deserve at least a minimum of 4 teams, I think we're doing a disservice to the quality, but also the regular season should mean as much as possible for every single one of our 9 games. And then those non-conference games, you should test yourself, right? And so playing Texas, those things should matter. And if we go to a system where you just have to be 12-0, 11-1, then we're not going to play the Texas game. We're not going to play Alabama. We're not going to play Georgia. That's not what college football should. We shouldn't be running away from opportunity. We should be trying to embrace opportunity, and that's the play-in model, the 4 automatic qualifying spots. That's where that came from.
Is there a compromise in there somewhere? Like if it was 3, like if the SEC said, we'll do 3. Is that something that
I think so.
Middle ground on
that?
that?
And I think that's where the commissioners, again, they have to get in a room.
Yeah.
And right now it seems like there's a lot of angst around, okay, well, the ACC and the Big 12, they don't, based on a memo that was signed 2 years ago, they don't really have a vote. They can have input. Mm-hmm. So we really have to get the SEC and the Big 10 to come together. What is the compromise? What does the committee truly look at? Because that can be an issue. If you have more at-large teams, how much subjectivity comes into it,
Yeah.
right? Versus here's some object information that the committee has all the data. I've been in mock selections. They have all the data. So I don't know if there's more data. I think it's more who is playing meaningful games throughout the year, and then how did they work themselves in to an automatic qualifying spot. To me, I think we can figure that out.
They've talked to, the playing of 12 or 9 conference games, and then there was the discussion, the ACC, the SEC, getting them on board to potentially do that, potentially playing some sort of agreed scheduling with the SEC, which, like you mentioned, Ohio State already has 3 of those games coming up. And scheduling of non-conference games, as you know, being a AD for a while, it's not like that happens on a year-out basis. That's something that's forward-looking. But the reality, I think a lot of people would be excited about that. Do you feel like that there's movement to kind of get that way?
I hope so. To your point, there's already a lot of built-in rivalry games that cross over, right? The SEC and the ACC have some that cross over. We don't necessarily have that from a non-conference standpoint. So the scheduling piece would be hard. I sat in the SEC room for 12 years. Every single meeting we had, we talked about, should we go to 9 games? For 12 years, we had the same conversation and never got to that point. So hopefully they get to that point. I know they want those games. I know, look, for their fans to have a 9th conference SEC game, that would mean so much. So, and then that would provide the uniformity I think that we're looking for. So that's not our decision. They have to make that decision. But again, I think it couples in with, okay, what does fairness look like? What does access look like? Are things being equal? If we're playing 9, should they play 9? I would love to see a crossover, like official crossover games, right? Where does Notre Dame fit into that, right? Who are they playing? That I think that's an issue. They have unique access, and they play 5 ACC games, but they don't have to play a hard schedule beyond that. Now they do in some ways, but so how do we create uniformity? I think we can get there. It's probably going to take the next 3 to 5 years to truly map out what a model looks like. You're going to probably have more realignment because television contracts expire in the late 2020s. So the shifts in all of this, the point is, this is not going away. We're going to keep talking about it, and it's going to be a continued evolution of college sports.
So you just talked about the realignment, and a lot of people think it's kind of set where it is now. Get a chance to talk with Rick Neuheisel a lot on XM, and he is a believer. He calls it the reckoning. He goes, as all of these TV contracts come to term here, as you mentioned, either early 30s, late 20s, that there'll be kind of one big push to where everything will then be solidified and it'll all be honed in. However it's going to look, that'll kind of be the model moving forward. Are you a believer of kind of that, how that's trending?
I think there's going to be a lot that has to come together, right, to maybe get to there's this Super League conversation. I do believe that we're leaving value on the table. There's no question about that. If you think about the value of college football, you think about the TV viewership, the NFL obviously is the king, right? And then the NBA has the next biggest contract, and then it's college football when you combine all the TV rights. We're ahead, but we have more viewership than the NBA right now, right? So how do we create more value? So I could see a scenario where, look, we're still in the Big Ten, but is there a consolidation of commercial activity? Is there a consolidation of TV value? Is there more consolidation around college football playoff and NCAA postseason events? I do see a point where maybe there's some economic consolidation, but we're still in the Big Ten, right? You could still have the West Coast teams in the Big Ten, but the economics are consolidated. So that may not happen in my lifetime. I'm 52.
You mean your
I'm
lifetime
52.
as an AD? Or
lifetime as an AD. Okay. Lifetime as an AD.
Okay. Thank you.
Because some of these contracts, again, have a long-term. Our contract with Fox goes out till 2036. The SEC is till 2034. So there's a lot that has to happen. But I do see a point around economic consolidation to try to drive value. But we're still have our identities of our conferences, if you will.
Has there been, you mentioned that West Coast element, and I think now we're a couple years into this. You don't have to really deal with that as much, although the Big Ten does touch out there.
Right.
But you're not Stanford or Cal or UCLA where you're dealing with all of this. Is there a push? Because let's be honest, this is all generated around football, to basketball to a lesser degree. But the regionalization of more of the Olympic sports to kind of everybody's
Yes.
bearing this cost now, and I
Yes.
don't know if people fully anticipated
Right.
what that would mean financially and then emotionally for the student athletes and the scheduling and how difficult that could be.
Yeah, yes to all of that. There's a review going on right now. Look, we just did 1 year, so obviously you need more time to kind of study it. But I just think about our basketball teams going out to Los Angeles. Our men's team, we left on a Friday, we played UCLA on a Sunday, we stayed all the way because we played USC on Wednesday and came back Thursday, Friday to Thursday. Why not? Why couldn't we have played Saturday, Monday? Right, and so to me, we should be smarter about how we're traveling. And then I can't imagine West Coast coming east for all the games. And then you take in tennis and softball and volleyball and all the things that they're doing to come this way with games. We only had one trip a year essentially for all of our teams, where they're having multiple. So to me, I think we have to continue to study that. We have to continue to look at it. How are we traveling? We shouldn't be in Los Angeles for 7 days, basically. That doesn't make economic sense. It doesn't make student athlete welfare sense. It doesn't make academic sense. We should be able to find a better way. Again, if they're still in the Big Ten, is there a way to do more regional matchups? I think there is. It's going to take more time to study that, but it's a great point.
I know one of the things you and President Carter both stressed early on was about keeping all the sports, keeping all 36. I think is that the number,
36.
right? 36 sports, keeping all 36, and how important that was, and it was a goal of yours. Now we're with all this realignment, everything going on right now, with the changing in the landscape of college athletics, is that still as feasible as it was when you guys first said that?
As we sit here today, it is, right? We can sustain that, right? But we had this retreat yesterday, and we had a budget presentation, and so we actually finished FY25 in a positive, right? We had a positive cash flow. Obviously, we had the college football playoff and all the things that came with that. We had our best fundraising year, our best sponsorship year, but the message was, hey, we can't just take a breather on the budget.
Yeah.
Hey, we had a positive year. Okay, we're good. We got it all figured out, right? Budget work is constant. It's every day. It's every year. So as we sit here today, we found a way. We added over 90 scholarships. We're doing the $20.5 million rev share. We recalibrated how we travel. We recalibrated how we feed our athletes. We looked at a lot of expense. We did, some of our staff that had term contracts that we didn't need anymore for roster because we had less student athletes on the roster. Those positions did not get filled, but we added positions that could add revenue. We added positions that will study data analytics. So as we sit here today, I think we're in a good spot the next 2 to 5 years.
Right.
But that rev share goes up, right? Expenses are not going to come down. So how do we drive more revenue? How do we make sure we manage our expenses? But the goal is, look, if we have 36 sports, we want to win in everything. We want to win in pistol. Men's lacrosse, made the NCAA tournament, for the first time in a couple years. Our men's soccer team made the Final Four, right? What Ty Tucker does in men's tennis. Those things are important because we're giving those young people an opportunity. So we're going to manage it. We're going to deal with it. But it is basically we have to take it in segments over the next couple years to say, okay, where are we now? Are we okay? Okay, we're good now. But then what happens 3 years from now? It's going to be a constant journey that we have to continue to analyze.
When you said retreat, and just in the corporate world, I don't know what the retreat means, but now in the sports world, all I think of is Aaron Rodgers' retreat. I want to make sure that's not what was going on at your retreat.
We went out to Griggs Boathouse out there. Our boathouse is awesome. We have one of the best boathouses for our rowing program. We overlook the Scioto River there. We had a nice peaceful setting, but we got a lot of work done because there's a lot of things happening. I actually call it a strategic withdrawal. So
even better,
because a retreat means you're like going backwards.
Right.
How do we be strategic? But we need to step away from our buildings. We need to kind of get off campus every now and then and kind of clear our minds and strategize about the future.
All right. So what's the last year been like for you personally? Moving here, you've got 2 boys. Your wife comes here, finding a place to live, trying to balance all of those things while being dumped into the blender of solving all of these problems. How has that adjustment gone?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, Columbus, had no idea what kind of city this was when we took the opportunity, but just learning about the city, learning about the people. This is a small town in a big city. Everybody knows everybody. Everything's interconnected. Our family's been welcomed with open arms. We love living in Upper Arlington. We're close. I mean, I was here in 7 minutes, right? I mean, you can get around to all these places. Our RJ, is he starting football today?
Yeah, the football's kicking off today.
Ninth grade, our son Paxton, ninth grade football. And, he's waking up 6:15. They had to be there about 6:40. And I just grabbed him walking out. I said, hey, man. I go, every play matters. Every practice matters. And he's looking at me like, Dad. And I'm like, I'm serious. I go, because when you get my age, you will miss this moment in your life. I go, don't take a play off. And he's looking at me like, Dad, shut up. I got to, I'm just trying to make it through. But that's what being a parent is, right? Kids don't listen to you. But it's an awesome experience here. We love it. And just can't wait to kind of see what the next 10 to 12 years provides for all of this, and as we map out Ohio State athletics.
Bob, you got one of those?
One of the what? The national championship? I don't
that is really sharp.
Yeah,
is that just for you, or is it out there? Is it open? Like, can people buy it?
This one, I'm not
sure. Yours. Yeah,
this was a football staff, family issued.
That's sharp.
Kevin Reese.
Oh yeah, Kevin
best
does
equipment
a great
guy
job
in the country. But look, we can wear this. We can wear this all season.
Yes, you can.
So we're going to wear it with pride.
Yeah. I'm an XL, by the way, if anyone wants to know.
One of the great things Ryan said, we'll leave you on this, is he, talked and was kind of unapologetic. There's never been a team at Ohio State that's gone back-to-back national champions, and that's the goal. Talking about it,
right?
Oh, there's never been a coach that's won more than 2 outside of Woody Hayes. So,
right.
All the great coaches that have come through.
Well, one of the things I've learned, and I've really studied this probably the last 6 months about. Okay, what does it take to be successful in any position here? I don't care if you're the greenskeeper at Scarlet and Gray Golf Course. The standard of excellence is at the highest level. If you're the head football coach. So how do you embrace the expectation but also execute, right? And so that's what I love about Coach today is, look, he'll wear this on his sleeve. He's not afraid to embrace, hey, we got to go undefeated. Hey, we got to win all the games, right? And so does that internalize some things? But at the same time, guess what they're doing right now? They're executing. That's why Hartline's not out here, right? Because he's in a meeting room, right?
For him, Ross.
So how do you execute but also understand the pressure? I think that's the really magic sauce here at Ohio State. And that's what Coach Day, he's not afraid to say, by the way, look up history. We could be the first team to win back-to-back. Let's do it. And let's make sure these guys understand the magnitude of that while also – performing. So I think it's an awesome combination. So here we go.
Thanks for your time.
Can't wait. Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much for being out.
Thanks for having me on.
Ross Bjork, Athletic Director, Ohio State.